a concept that goes hand in hand with election, it seems to me, is the idea of covenant. So what does covenant mean from your perspective?
It goes back to what we've been talking about with Tikkun Olam, to be the best person I can be. And I believe being the best person I can be, created in God's image, is to help make the world a better place for the people who live in it. That would be my covenant. That is my personal belief. And that is the way I feel about living my life. That's my covenant with God. And that's, yeah, I think that does it.
I think that, again, in a reform world, 93.7, whatever that number means, percent of my community that is how people would respond. And I think that's a really, it's a very Jewish response. It's a very accurate response. The most original understanding of covenant comes from the covenant that God made with Abraham, right? That essentially, I will be your God and you will be my people. Is the most basic of understanding. It's I choose you and you choose me, and we will take care of each other, right? And the way that you could take care of each other is that you pray to God and only God, right? You don't pray to all these other idols and other things, right? You understand God as the sole God. That's our job. And you do a bunch of things that show God that you believe that only God is God. And that's where a lot of the commandments come from. That's where a lot of the rules about how Judaism looks come from, is this way of showing God that you understand that God is the only God, and that you're willing to do what God says because you believe that God's the only God. And on God's part, God will protect us and make sure that we continue to exist in the world and make of us a great nation, whatever that means. So that's at its most basic level what I think covenant means. In Reform Judaism, we really do talk about a partnership, that there's a difference between a contract and a covenant, and that a partnership is something that both parties really get to benefit from and get to contribute to. And so in Reform Judaism, the covenant between God and the Jewish people really is a partnership. And like I said before, right, our role as human beings in the world is to help God do God's work. You'll hear this in other religious traditions as well, right? But we are God's hands is something that I think people say often. I think there's a lot of Judaism in that idea as well. That the work that we do is and can be godly work, and that we talk about, one of my favorite prayers in the prayer book is that, prayer can't mend broken bones or bring water to parched fields, but prayer can mend broken hearts and bring water to an arid soul, right? And that when we pray, we don't expect miracles in the way that they are described necessarily in the beginning parts of our Bible, but we do see the way in which prayer can transform individuals and communities.